We could change the world with love it all unfolds. Ooh, no holding back. We gotta be bold. They say it's over, but I'm not sold.
Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to the newest episode of Shine with Curiosity Encouragement. I'm Author Steven Eurioste, author of the past series books. Susan Gabriel is the owner of Sunshine, Full Sunshine, and my best friend. We have a very cool and very fun podcast day. So I hope everybody is ready. We are bringing on Kara Cooperstien. They have been following as you'll know, she is the author of the new book, If I Were, a very fun children's book. Um, wanted to bring her on. This is would be her first podcast interview writing the book, so I look forward to hearing everything we have about it and her life story and some questions for everybody out there. Susan, what would you like to bring on?
Well, Kara, we are so happy to have you here. It's been so much fun working with you on your book. So we need to go ahead and bring her in here. Can you do that, Stephen?
Yeah, we will bring her in. Hello, Kara. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Stephen, I wouldn't be myself if I didn't let you know that I'm hearing a lot of crackle from your voice. I don't know if you know, but
I was going to send him a message, but
okay.
I'm glad you
I have this
mentioned it.
terrible habit of telling people things I think are helpful, and then people are like, I already knew that.
Oh,
So
people don't always think it's helpful, huh?
yeah,
I think it's
terrible habit.
probably a good trait. Yeah. Well, I asked you because I had forgotten, but then when you told me, I remembered. It was, how did you find Soul Sunshine, and who introduced you? And this man right here was
He
the one that,
did. He
yeah,
did.
introduced you to Soul Sunshine.
I thought I was ready to publish. I had, about 10 pages, which I thought was, good enough because I'm looking at children's cardboard books. And I post on a Facebook page and I'm like, I think I'm ready to publish, what about the publishers? And I start getting all these messages from these people that want $600 to publish my book and do all this and do all that. And then Stephen sent me just a comment and he was like, I really, really love my publisher. Let me know if you want to know about it. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, that's the kind of thing I want is a word of mouth publisher. So Stephen hooked me up with you and he got us in on a joint message, and it's all because of Stephen here. And I am
Yeah.
forever grateful, Stephen. I am.
Well, we're really happy too that you
So
start. Go
I'm
ahead,
so happy
Stephen.
to hear that. It was just time that it came across all of a sudden, and you seemed like you were at your wits' end on everything. Like I want this published, but I don't want all the heartache. I don't want all the headache. And I know
Yeah.
your experience very well of having publishers come at you and saying, "Oh, it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money." You're just like, I don't really want to do that. So I'm
Yeah.
happy that we were able to cross those paths, and I'm happy that we were able to get the illustrations that you needed and everything to make it come to fruition.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that you two have in common is you both wrote and illustrated your books. So you guys are both writers and illustrators, which I'm in awe of that kind of talent. I could write, but I'm not an artist. Tell everybody I am not an artist. I can take files and I can manipulate things and I can lay out the books. I'm very good at formatting and putting the text in, and that part of the process. But I can't start with a blank piece of paper and come up with something that turns out beautiful, or even half beautiful. Not even for a kid.
Yeah.
So I admire that.
Well,
And
thank you.
you're
Well, as
you're,
artists,
you're
we are
huge.
our worst critics. So to actually
Well,
have
you guys are both.
illustrations come out and making it to everything is absolutely fantastic. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
did
you.
so
not
I'm
know
just
I
out of
was.
curiosity,
Oh, go ahead.
Kara, how did it feel to hear that your ideas were good?
Oh my goodness. If you were to ask my husband, he would say I was pumped up on adrenaline all day. So I sent Susan one page of my book, and I'm sitting here as just a normal person, a mom of four, uh, thinking, my sketches, my art is got to be terrible, and my ideas have to be terrible, but someone's actually going to look at them. And Susan sent me back. I think that I'm getting chills just actually thinking about this. Susan sent me back. I think those are great, and I could not all day. I was just shaking. I was like, I can't believe someone actually thinks I'm good. I can't believe my husband was like, you have to chill. Like, so
Oh,
it was, yeah, I
it's
was,
okay to be excited. Do you have a
yeah,
copy of your book there that you can show people what the cover looks like?
I do.
You just happen to. Look at that, and look at how adorable. Who would turn down those beautiful little illustrations? So cute.
Thank
And
you.
you can show us a page or two inside and
Oh,
how
yeah.
cute the rest of it is.
One of my favorites was this one, um, which is a sandcastle in process of being built. And then we go to
Uh-huh.
the next, and then it says, if I were a sandcastle. And then the next page, this sandcastle is built, and it's so big that there are so many children inside. And it
Uh-huh.
says, I would be big enough for you and all your friends. I wanted to do this because I wanted to make sure this book was for everyone. Um,
Mhm.
and really, that was my children that kind of made me realize that, because on this page, which was actually one of the very first ones I did, if I were
Mhm.
sunshine, I would leave kisses on your cheeks.
Uh-huh.
That's I wrote that because my kids always have red cheeks just like I do. They have freckles just like I do. And so that was something I would say to them. And my son saw it and he goes, why does it always have to be a Dea? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, that could be you. That could be anyone. And he just in his little 7-year-old self made me realize I need to add a bit more here. This isn't just my
Uh-huh.
one daughter. It's not my one kid. This is for
Uh-huh.
everybody. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
that's
then,
interesting that he made that comment. So,
yeah,
but I
they
guess he would, sibling rivalry.
yes, yeah, that's true. They keep me on my toes. I think I've told you many times that they are my editors in and of themselves. But
Yeah.
this
Well,
is another one that's one of my favorites. It's
I love
if I
that one
were a
too. If I were a
mouse, I
mouse,
would
That
I
one's
would
so
always be
cute.
in your
in
pocket.
your pocket.
Oh, it's adorable. It's really so
That one is super cute.
adorable. Yeah.
There.
So what are some of the things you've learned along the way?
Well, don't listen to the people that want you to pay $600 for a book to get published.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, I would charge $600 if they had some illustrations they needed to have done. I mean,
Mm,
$600 is a very reasonable price, or
yeah.
even more if you are looking for the kind of art that's art worthy.
Oh, yes, I'm
But
sure if you had to
you
pay
already
an
you
illustrator
came,
as
you
well.
had your book written, although we added a few pages. You
Yes.
added some more. But you had your
That was
book
something
written, and
else
you
I
were the
learned.
illustrator. All you needed was the formatting and publication. You didn't,
Yeah.
you didn't need a whole lot. And I just feel like sometimes authors get ripped off. So I
Yeah.
try to keep the prices, reasonable for an
Yeah.
author. I want to feel like I'm treating you fairly.
Yes, and I greatly appreciate all of your work in formatting. That's, you made the comment that you don't illustrate, but you format. It's quite the opposite for me. I can do this art, I can illustrate it, but I can't get in there with that program and format it. I don't remember 8th grade graphic design so well. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, and not only that, your expertise, your knowing, it was you are the one that really put this cover together. And sorry, I have to get in. You're the one that really put this
Yeah.
cover together, take some of
Yeah.
my own artwork and put it together, and to give it this
Mhm.
nice, pretty lettering here, and
Mhm.
to walk me through the part of, talking about myself in the author's
Mhm.
biography, and all those things. I couldn't have done a single thing of, about that without you. And so that's one thing I learned, that you have to have someone great behind you to help you.
Mhm.
And I learned that it takes more than 10 pages for a book.
Yeah,
That's like
10
first
pages is a
thing.
little slim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to get my creative pants on. I was like, well, if I really want to do this,
Uh-huh.
I gotta think of some more things.
Yeah, and
Um,
you came up with
so
some good pages too.
yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. So, and yeah, I learned it's really about finding someone that you trust to be that publisher for you. And it's
Mhm.
not always, I think they, when people think of getting published, they're thinking of Barnes and Noble, they're thinking of, I want to get into a big name store, and it's not, it doesn't work that way. When
Yeah.
you don't know how it works, you find out it
When
doesn't work that way.
yeah,
So
when you've never published a book before,
yeah.
you can get into Barnes and Noble, and I can
Yes.
help you with that too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as far as getting on a New York Times bestseller list,
Mhm.
it's hard to do unless you are a known personality or you have, written books before. You've
Yes.
gained a following.
Mhm.
Those things are, and authors a lot of times have somewhat unrealistic expectations, but um, I like you're nodding your head there, Stephen.
Oh, I had delusions of grandeur when I first started myself. I was
Yeah.
going to be a multi-million dollar publisher or published author and illustrator of the greatest series there ever was. So, yes, I do
Oh
understand
well,
delusions of
you have
grandeur.
there's still time for both of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Well,
and Kara,
yeah.
do you have another book planned after this one?
I do, and I would say it's
Great.
mostly done, but it
Uh-huh.
costs money. Costs money to put it out there. So, um, yeah, I want to take the title. Sorry, I keep putting this up here. The title of If I Were, and what I want to do is if you were, and then
Mhm.
eventually if we were, and maybe if they
Uh-huh.
were. I want to. So
Mhm.
basically, we're calling the series the If series because
Mhm.
we're changing what goes on here, but it'll be, um just a teaser. If I were a frog, I would hop lily pads with you. Or
Mhm.
if you were a frog, I would hop all the lily pads with you. It
Uh-huh.
could be, if you were um a soccer ball, we would make all the goals together. And a lot of those
Nice.
things are, yeah, those
Mhm.
are inspired from my kids. My son plays soccer.
Yeah,
And
I was
so,
gonna
Really?
say your kids probably help you out with some of that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's cool.
So, although sometimes they're worst critics. I- I'd say my 13-year-old is my worst critic, but that's because he's 13, and
Well,
it's not
yeah.
for
I mean, what do you
13-year-olds.
expect? I don't think you're writing for a 13-year-old.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'll show him things and he'll be like, That's why? And I'm like, it's not for you. I mean, it's for you, but it's not for you. It's it's for,
Yeah.
my first grader, not my seventh
Yeah.
grader. So
Yeah. And
Speaking
her
of your
name
family,
is, yeah.
speaking of your
Go
family,
ahead,
how does your
Stephen.
family feel about your book?
well, my kids are they are so proud, and it like brings me to tears, and sometimes it's embarrassing because they will like I brought one of the books into their school, and I just dropped it off with the secretary as I was dropping
Mhm.
them off for school, and my daughter goes running through the halls, "My mom is an author!" And she's like, and I was like, "Oh, yes, yes, I am. Yeah, I'm gonna bow out now." Because I was like, "Whoo!" She made a grand
That's
gesture,
so,
but at the same time,
so
it's so
cute.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
and
is so
yeah,
cute.
and my
Yeah.
husband is so proud of me for pursuing the venture, and my parents, and I,
Mhm.
and even beyond family. I've had people, I'm a regular church attender. I've had people tell
Mhm.
me, I, I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you have gone through everything you've gone through in life, and you have
Mhm.
made this book. You're such a warrior. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't see myself that way. I just see it as something that I wanted to do, and I did.
Uh-huh.
So when people express pride in me, I really appreciate it, but I'm also a little
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness. People
Yeah.
actually think highly of me. I don't know what that is. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'd say family and friends have a lot of pride
Mhm.
and excitement that I've been able to
Yeah.
utilize.
That's really cool. And you had a health challenge too that you had to work through. And that
Yes.
I can see why they're calling you a warrior.
Yeah. So I have epilepsy. It's
Mhm.
technically focal and partial temporal lobe epilepsy on the right side.
Mm. Yeah.
So I was having what is it's not called grand malls anymore, but almost everybody still
Yeah.
uses that term because
Right.
those are the ones where
The
your
big
whole
ones.
body takes over, the big ones.
Mhm.
And I had surgery. We're almost at a year since surgery. I had surgery last November 7th. And
Uh-huh.
luckily, I've only had a handful of those since then. I do still have some seizures, but it and I'm looking at having another surgery here in
Mhm.
January. But we're I'm it's just so great to be able to um hi, hi mom. It's so great to be able
Oh.
um to keep my creative side. My husband said he was worried.
Uh-huh.
He was worried about that. A lot of people say your creative side's on your right side. He was worried that
Oh.
my desire to write, or I also crochet would not come with me if they took out parts of my brain. And when I picked up that tablet and I started doing my book again, and I went back into it, he said it made him so happy, because he knew I hadn't lost myself. I mean, when
Mhm.
you never experience having a major surgery like that, you don't know what it's going to be like recovering.
Yeah.
And it was a tough
Yeah.
recovery. It took me several months to get back to that place.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
can imagine.
but yeah, so
Brain surgery
I'm
is
just
not
grateful.
something to, as they say, talk about, people, brain surgeons are some of the smartest people and the most adept with their, hands. Um, so, such delicate um, movements they need to
Mhm.
make when they're working in the brain. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it is crazy. And they did what is called an ablation on my in my temporal lobe on my hippocampus. And so
Mhm.
all they did was drill a small hole, and they put a laser through that. Oh, okay, sorry. And they put a laser through that, and so they got a particular area. They knew it may not have been fully successful. Of course, they were hopeful it would be completely successful. It wasn't. So we're going to have to go in and do a little bit more in-depth surgery here in January, but it was enough to give me a lot of my life back. I mean, I was having those grand mal seizures, and those put you out for several days. And
Wow.
when you
They're
you
so
wake up and feel
dangerous
as if,
too.
oh, you wake up and feel as if you're dreaming.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Um,
no problem.
Yeah.
and so I think it just being able to not
Okay, yeah, now we
is
can't hear you. Yeah,
oh
now that's
can you hear
better.
me now? Okay.
Yeah, now
I
we can.
for some reason an AirPod died on me, so I switched from one to the
Okay.
other. But going from constantly being bedridden and waking up and not knowing, oh, how did I end up here? It's
Yeah, I
it's a
can
lot better.
imagine.
So
Right. That would be very difficult. So, yeah, I admire you for hanging in there and, and then you've got children to take care of too. So that
yeah.
must have been difficult.
Yeah, I've got 4. So I already mentioned my 13-year-old and my
Mhm.
daughter. I've got 2 sons, a 13-year-old, a soon-to-be 12-year-old, and my daughter is 10 in December, and a 7-year-old.
Uh-huh.
I love to
Yeah.
joke. It took me a year additional each time to decide I wanted to have a kid. So they're 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years apart. But I needed some time, needed extra time. But
Yeah.
they're my everything. As a little kid, I never could decide what I wanted to be when I grew up because I just always wanted to be a mom. And so I
Mhm.
ended up getting a degree in teaching because I thought, well, if I want to be a mom, it means I want to be with kids. Um, COVID kind of changed that. Really, when you're
Yeah,
in the
I
house
bet.
teaching your kids, I was like, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But that's uh but but I definitely love my kids and am grateful that I'm able to have them. We're blessed to be able to have them.
Yeah. And so do you do homeschooling with them or
No.
no?
Perhaps if I was seizure free, I might. We're actually
Uh-huh.
considering it with my daughter. But the especially after the experience with COVID, I think between seizures and medical appointments and all of that, I might go a little crazy if I had to homeschool. So I am very
Mhm.
grateful for the public school system. They they
Yeah.
have a
Well,
lot in their
homeschooling
hands.
4 would be quite a lot. I
Yeah.
homeschooled 1 for a couple of years, but
Mhm.
she was older and it was much easier. You can just,
Yeah.
give her an assignment and that's it. Go do your
Mhm.
assignment. And
Yeah.
that's relatively easy, but the younger ones too take a lot more,
Mhm.
a lot more of your time
Yeah,
when you need
they
to
do.
teach. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
So I
so
want you to know I'm a huge fan and I love the book.
Thank
Um,
you.
I love hearing how much you've overcome to get to this point.
I
But my
appreciate that.
question to you is when you got that mail for the first time and your book came, and it was the very first time you got to see it, hold it, read it, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, when I got that first proof, I was like, this is something I made. Like this little shock and awe of it, that, I am actually holding something that I made. And it's not a crocheted scarf. It's not um just a drawing on a sheet of paper. This is something that came from a manufacturer and is in my hands, and oh my goodness. It's just, yeah, it's unbelievable, really, when you get that, especially the first time. Yeah.
yeah, it is kind of a shock to
What would
see,
you say
the thing
to
that you've been working on. and to see it in real life, it's shock.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Steven?
What
I'm
piece of
sorry.
advice would you give to authors out there who maybe have an idea in their head but never actually put it down, or maybe want to do and get published, or maybe have a story? What kind of advice would you give to those out there who maybe just don't know how to go forward or aren't ready, think they're ready?
Yeah. I would say especially if you're an illustrating author, that um, something I didn't realize, so I should have mentioned this earlier. I didn't realize was that despite the fact that I was illustrating, I still needed to put my words in a format, in a list. And that actually helped me make sure my pages were organized, to be able to present them to Susan. And so that was something I didn't realize until I was already in the middle of the process that I needed to do.
Hmm.
Because I think I was, in my head, I'm like, oh, I've got my own photos. I don't need that. I have it on the pictures. But it really does
Hmm.
help. It helps to have it scripted out.
Hmm.
And if you're, of course, if you're writing not a illustrated children's book, you're not going to have that need. But you know, also just actually going for it, finding a publisher, which I highly suggest our publisher, Sold Sunshine. But if you go and look and find it, don't it's easy to write that book. It's easy to illustrate or to do it and then kind of be like, oh no, I'm not good enough. No one will ever like me. And to get in our own heads. And I think we have to put our bootstraps on and we have to get out there and we have to go in the world and find someone that will. And
Hmm.
also, just like Stephen mentioned earlier, remember that we're not all J.K. Rowling. So
Right.
it's, right now this is
Yeah.
somewhat more on passion project side, but I'm
Hmm.
hoping it'll get there.
Uh-huh.
But if it's worth that feeling of when you open it
Hmm.
up. It's definitely worth that feeling of seeing your work in proof. Um, and yeah, but it takes work. It's
Hmm.
not a
Yeah, it
hand,
does.
not a hand
No, it
wave
takes work,
thing.
it takes
It's
perseverance, and it takes uh, being brave, courageous enough
Yes.
not to let the fear of potential criticism stop you. Because
Yes.
I do see authors that are afraid.
Mm.
They postpone and postpone, and they don't publish because they're afraid of criticism. They're afraid
Yes.
of that it's not perfect, and when it's not perfect, that they're going to get, criticized by others or bad reviews.
Mm.
And I can tell you right now, many people get bad reviews for no good reason. so
Yeah.
so a lot of times, you can't avoid getting a bad review or a bad rating. I have on my memoir, I have several 1 and 2 star ratings. They did not leave a review, so I don't know what their problem was. But the ones who left reviews, and there were quite a few of those that left reviews, they gave me 4 and 5 stars. So it
Yeah.
kept my ratings fairly high, but still,
Yeah.
those you wonder why someone would go on someone's, an author's book page and give them a 1 star. Like, okay, why? Why?
Yeah.
Did you read the book? And
Yeah.
did you hate the book and read it? Or did you just decide you didn't think it was going to be a good book because it was a
Yeah.
Christian book? Or,
Not what they were
yeah,
expecting.
there are a lot of
Yeah.
reasons, potential
Hmm.
reasons. Or you didn't
Yes.
like me? We used to work together and you didn't like me? I mean, there's all kinds of reasons.
Mm. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you know, it's it's important for an author to know that, their initial royalties, even when they get past all of that and that bravery, their initial royalties aren't gonna probably be a handful in the pocket. As Susan, you've told
No.
me it's nothing to base my life on.
Yeah,
But
right.
that's
Mhm.
where, it gets to be just a pride in the fact that you've
Yeah.
accomplished what you have.
Mhm.
I'm sorry if you
Yeah,
hear whining. Um,
that's
but
okay.
it's one of my inspirations. It's
Mhm.
perhaps I can show
Let's see.
this
Let's
little
see.
Aw.
whining.
Oh, what
It's
breed is
her name
it?
is Sadie, and she's a golden doodle.
Golden
Oh,
She's
doodle.
she's so cute.
she's
Yeah.
this one right here.
Uh-huh.
But-
Yep.
so,
And do you
The
have a
she
gray cat also?
I
Do you
I
have a
do,
gray
and
cat?
yeah, she's a tabby with a black and gray and white on the
Oh,
belly. Yes, just
yeah.
like in my pictures, and I will constantly say on my web, my Instagram and Facebook, that they're major inspirations, because when we first got Sadie, she was that was in March, and Misty is our cat. She does not really get along with other animals, and so it was so funny to watch them start to interact and start to realize, hey, I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you. And so they the only time they would get along, though, is when my husband would sit down on the couch or go to bed at night, and they would agree to share him. And they would both sit on his lap. And so I
Oh.
actually kind of mentioned a little bit of that in one of my uh, profiles, that
Mhm.
they remind me what it is to share love, because they didn't like each other just sitting around the house, but they were happy to share the man they love.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
That was
they,
nice.
yeah. So
That was good. And so one
That
more
was awesome.
question for you. And then I think we'll be wrapping up. But one more question I have for you, and then maybe Stephen also might have a question. But um, where did the inspiration come from for what you wrote, other than
s-
depict your dog and cat and your children?
mhm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it really is my kids, but it's because they oh, you're fine. She's um
He wants to be on.
she wants to be in it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's You're fine, you're fine. They a lot of times I would just say these phrases to them, like, oh, if I were um a if you were a mouse, you would be in my pocket. Or, we're going back to that because that goes back to the old phrase, when someone walks up to you and says we instead of I, oh, do you have a
Uh-huh.
mouse in your pocket?
Uh-huh.
But I would say those things to my kids, and I would say, that the sun is leaving kisses on your cheeks. Or,
Uh-huh.
if
Uh-huh.
I were a mountain, I would be tall and strong for you. And some of those don't translate
Uh-huh.
that well into
Uh-huh.
pages, but really it was just, I would say those things to them, and then I would just get a feeling I wanted to sketch. And so when I was sitting there thinking,
Mhm.
what do I want to sketch, I would sketch those phrases. And that's
Mhm.
how it all came to be, how it turned out.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
desire to get a little creative and
Uh-huh.
inspiration from what I say to them, and or what
Yeah.
me and my husband say to them.
And I appreciate you sharing your, it's kind of like private phrases and things that you do, how you share your love to your children
Hmm.
and show them love. And I think that I read that. I mean, it was in every page. It comes through in the translation of, here's someone who loves their children and is
Yeah,
passing on that love to other parents, so that they can then share that with their children.
I
So,
appreciate
I
that.
think
Thank
that
you.
was what I got out of it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, there's There's some pages like the bun in the oven that
Yeah.
were
That
more,
was
they were
cute.
a little bit more
Uh-huh.
because I had to get creative to add some pages.
Yeah,
And I
that
knew
was good.
I wanted to add things that were based in analogies or phrases that we hear. And I was like,
Yeah.
that is really cute. People say that they have a bun in their oven. Well, my kids
Uh-huh.
are my bun. They're my little bun.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, it was very
My
clever. Very.
my last question to you, before we move on and let everybody know where we can find your book, um, is after writing this book, do you feel any different than before you published? I mean, was there an innate point of I am now a published children's book author and illustrator, and did that go to your mindset for anything in particular?
well, I wouldn't say like it went, made me have a I can't think of the phrase off the top. It didn't go to my head in a negative way, but it definitely, um, seeing the books, especially the first time I ordered books to give to my kids in the library, and the school, seeing those and actually knowing like someone else is going to hold this in their hands and it's something that I did. I was like, I am a children's book author. Maybe not a very well-known one. I'm not Eric Carle, but it's, but I am. And then especially like I said with my daughter and my younger son, they love to just go, this is my mom and she's an author.
Mhm.
And that in and of
Yes.
itself is something
And
that
we see how proud your mother is of you as well.
yeah, yes. Yeah. So they actually here, hold on one second. I've got since you
That,
asked me about her.
that's actually the oh.
Oh,
That's actually
so
the point
cute.
that I want to get out to all of our um we need to come up with a name for them. Shinites. Shinesters. To everybody watching our
Yeah.
podcast. Um
Yes.
I want everybody out there to know how I don't want to say difficult it is to write a book, but it is difficult to find and get past that finish line. But when you
Mhm.
do pass that finish line and when you do hold your product for the first time, it does change your mindset.
Yeah.
You're no longer, I should write a book. You're no longer, I'd really like to write a book. You're no
Hmm.
longer, I'd really love to be published sometimes. You
Hmm.
then become, I've written a book.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
see, here's my book in my hand. Do you see it? I have written this. I have
Yeah.
illustrated this. It is out there. You
Mhm.
can purchase it. You can purchase a copy, or
Yeah.
you can buy one from me
I
directly.
I actually have a Facebook page that can genuinely say Author Kara Cooperstien. It's not just
Uh-huh.
a wish, it's a
Yep.
real thing. And yeah, it is. It's an
Mhm.
amazing feeling and it's worth every step that it takes to get there. And
Mhm.
no, it doesn't go to your head. It doesn't make you feel like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm on top of the world. Well, I mean, maybe for a minute, but you get,
Oh,
it does, it
you
makes you
say
feel
it.
like you've done
Uh-huh.
something. You
Mhm.
have accomplished this. You've
It's an
put forth this
accomplishment. It
effort.
is.
Yes. Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. And it is something that you can be proud of. You know that you accomplished something. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. And we like
Yeah.
to celebrate around Old
Yes.
Soul Sunshine. We like to
Mhm.
celebrate every author that gets over that finish line. And so we
Yeah.
we
Well,
thank you
Susan,
for coming
I'd like
to
to
us.
say really quick that again, I could not have gotten to this point without both you and Steven and your team at Soul Sunshine. It takes a team, and you are a
Hmm.
great team to be on, and I really appreciate it. That's why part of my dedication was to you because without you, this creation would never have happened, and I really appreciate all of the
And
team at Soul
I
Sunshine.
thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That
It's very
that
means
really
a
makes me
lot.
feel good about them. Yes, it definitely means a lot.
Yeah.
But you've earned it. I mean, you did the work too. You put in
Thank
the
you.
time, the dedication. You got everything that we needed to get, and you were able to do it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
Oh, oh, we've got another comment to show.
Oh, my dad. I love you too,
Oh,
Dad.
and your daddy also
Yeah.
is proud of you. Oh, I'm so happy to hear from your family. That's really
Thank you.
cool. I
That
love
is
that.
awesome.
I love
That is
that. Thank you
awesome.
so much, mommy and daddy, for letting her know how
Yes.
proud you are.
Yeah. Well, and he's
Definitely.
someone to be proud of. He is a vet from the Cold War. He's an Air Force vet
Oh,
from the Cold War.
Hmm.
So
Uh-huh.
if he doesn't know, here publicly, Dad, I love you. I'm so proud of you for all the years that you
Uh-huh.
served for our country.
Yes, and
But yes.
thank you for
awesome.
your service.
Definitely
Yes.
thank you
So
for your service, sir. We definitely
Hmm.
appreciate that. All right. Well, I want to
Yeah.
show this last little clip before we go. It's going to show what we published on Facebook just a few days ago about this podcast, but it does show the cover of the book and it does show you. So I just want to put this again out there. Um, Kara Cooperstien.
thank you. I've had a lot of
I
hair
really like
growth
this
since
ad that
that
we put
photo.
together for you. I'm sorry it's blocking your face there, but
Yeah.
Oh no, you're fine.
I thought I put the cover on there. I guess I did not. Mm.
That
It
was
might sound a
nice.
little
All
silly,
right.
but that photo, it it reminds me of how far I've come from my epilepsy surgeries, because my hair
Uh-huh.
was short because of the epilepsy. So,
Uh-huh.
and now I can put it in a ponytail again, and it's those little things that,
Hmm.
just like publishing a book and being able
Hmm.
to do that, those little things that show you that you've come from the struggles that you were having. So
Yeah. 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 It's a journey. It's a step. It's a taking one step after another and continuing to move forward in spite of whatever else is going on. Yeah.
yes.
Definitely. Well, I want to appreciate you coming on with us tonight, Kara. Um, Again, we absolutely love your book. It's so cute. We can't wait
Thank
to
you.
see the sequel to it.
Thank
For
you.
everybody out there watching, thank you for joining us this evening, giving up a part of your Sunday to come on and watch and support and hear about all the new stuff. Remember to visit us at soulsunshine.com if you want a copy of Kara's book or any of the books that we have published so far. And if you are an author out there and you want to be published, seek us out. Send us a message on Facebook. Let us know what's going on. We definitely want to help you guys out. Is in closing, is there anything you want to say before we go? Yeah,
I appreciate anyone and everyone that buys the book and enjoys the book, and I couldn't appreciate the both of you more. And Stephen, it's nice to be reminded. It's nice to be reminded that this is an accomplishment, and and, you know and it's a journey. So I appreciate both of you,
Hmm.
and I appreciate anyone who buys it, and I really hope that it is something that children and parents can both enjoy reading.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I would encourage people to show their children love. That's a good way to do that is to sit down and read with your child and go
Yes.
through a book and talk about it and talk
Yes.
about what it means and what it means to you, and
Yeah.
what do you get out of it. And
Mhm.
spending that time with your children reading a book is very, very useful and valuable time that it's an investment in your child.
Yes, very much. Yes. Yeah. And it's,
Definitely.
it's
Well,
funny
thank you for
because even
joining us
these,
today.
thank you.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh no, I was just going to say, even these little analogies here in this book it's
Uh-huh.
keeping our history a little bit. My kids wouldn't know what it means to have a mouse in your pocket unless I said it. So when we do this, when we write and we share with our kids, we're passing on love and history
Yeah.
and all of those
Hmm.
things. And thank you. Yes, thank you,
Right.
Stephen, for
Yeah.
having me on tonight.
I appreciate that very much so. And thank you for joining us tonight. To all our viewers, thanks for watching. And be sure to swing by the website and pick up a copy of Kara's book if you haven't
Hmm.
already done so. Well, it is now getting late here in the mountain region and there as well. I'm sure it's getting close to supper time.
Yep.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. Kara, thank you for writing this book and coming on with our podcast. And we'll be sure to share out after the show here where to find your book.
Thank
Hmm.
you. Have a
Yes.
good night.
Okay. Thanks,
You're welcome.
everybody. Thank you all for watching
You,
too.
you take care.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening for another episode of Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement, our podcast. Be on the lookout for our guest next week and follow us for more updates on Kara and all of our books coming out through Soul Sunshine. Um, how did you want to end it tonight, Susan?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Do you want to end with
End it?
anything tonight?
Say goodbye. Yeah, I want to say that I appreciate anybody who's been watching our podcast or the recast, the recording of our podcast, which will be available, from now on. We'll make it available to people so they can watch it. But I appreciate you. I really do.
Appreciate everybody out there as well, and I appreciate you, Susan. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll be back next Sunday. Thank you, everybody, for coming out,
Bye.
and I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Have a good night.